It is finally happening. Today we got an announcement of the full patch notes that we're going to be receiving in tomorrow's update, which addresses apparently a whole bunch of the issues that a lot of people have been complaining about for the past month or so since the game released. Sparking Zero is officially releasing. Tomorrow marks the day where Sparking Zero officially releases. You hear that, Vegeta? Pay attention when I'm talking to you. Yes, you guys heard that right. We got the full patch notes right here that I'm going to be going through real quick. And just to see, you know, what should we expect? Did they address the main issues that everyone actually was complaining about? So, starting off right here with the game mode adjustments. So, all stages are now available in the offline split screen mode, which is pretty cool. Bringing back that couch gaming to modern days. Then we got functionality adjustments. So, battle setup, a function allowing you to change character display method has been added. Nah, I don't really care about that. Ranked match, player match. You can now skip the intro battle animations, and it requires both players to input the skip command. Now, honestly, I'm surprised this was not in the game when it first released, but I'm glad that they're finally implementing it now before it's too late, because to sit through some of these intro scenes, or just, you know, when you rematch someone, like, you had enough after that. You don't want to see that shit again. So, yeah, I'm glad to see that. We got player matches. You can now set your team to hidden or revealed to your opponent when editing your team. So, again, I'm not really too familiar with what this actually does because I don't really play player matches, but I guess that's cool for some of y'all. Custom battle mode, text can now be sorted alphabetically. Another thing, more convenience. Options, you can now set the battle camera distance to be closer. Now this can actually come in handy for those of you who really want to work on your timing for super counters or Z vanishes. I guess being closer to the screen or the character that you're controlling will help you better time those inputs. But here we got battle system adjustments. So the first one is actually a new action. It's called High Speed Dragon Dash. This new quick movement action, High Speed Dragon Dash, is where you can move quickly towards your opponent. If I'm not mistaken, I did see someone tweet the other day about some mechanic that didn't make it into the game and it was available on Japanese builds. I'm assuming that's what it is. I'll probably throw it on the screen so you guys can see what it is that I'm talking about. So with this, it's cool to see because it implements new ways for you to approach your opponents, and I feel like that was something that was just slightly lacking. You know, the only real ways to approach your opponent would either be like sending them away or dragon dashing behind them, and obviously there's many different ways to counter that. So this is something cool to add to the arsenal there. Then we got smash attack. So you will no longer be stunned when being hit by a rush ki blast when charging a smash attack. And also when charging a smash attack during a rush attack, charge time reduction based on hit count has been increased. I don't really do smash attacks a lot, but essentially this is what a smash attack is. And when you try to do that and you're charging it, let's say someone just sends a whole bunch of ki blasts at you, they would interrupt that action. So now this is pretty much uninterruptible when you're doing this by ki blast. And it makes it cool because, you know, now you have more of like that rock, paper, scissors type of style when you're fighting these opponents. Rush ki blast. Oh, let's see about this. The time between being able to fire the next rush ki blast after firing the maximum consecutive amount at once, different for each character, has been increased. Okay, so if we just take a look right now, this is what the timing is right now, at least for Ultimate Gohan. So you guys see that? If I just keep spamming the triangle button, that gap right there, that little pause right there, is going to be increased. So you won't be able to send as much ki blast here. Now the problem is, I don't know if this is going to be effective, especially when in instant sparking mode, because I don't know how long exactly they made that pause between that. I'm hoping it's significant enough, but I guess we'll just have to see as we're playing the new update in order to judge that truly. You can now move while deflecting rush ki blast. I feel like that was already a thing. Is this not deflecting ki blast here? I mean, maybe I'm just not understanding the way that it was worded, but as you guys can see, like, this should be deflecting the ki blast. Maybe it makes it quicker. I have no idea. We'll just have to wait for the update in order to see that as well. You will now no longer be able to be hit by certain attacks immediately after performing a step. Rush ki blast and smash ki blast can now also be evaded. So this is actually huge because if I'm not mistaken, a step is this right here. And once you do that, you will evade all the ki blasts sent at you, as well as the smash ki blast. Because, you know, people like to be trigger happy when they're holding down that ki blast, especially in instant sparking mode. Like I said, one of the biggest issues we have in this game. But if you know how to do your movement and your side steps, and you include that right there, I'm assuming that's what they mean by being able to evade those ki blasts incoming at you. So essentially another effective way of you being able to avoid ki blasts. For the Z burst dash, the amount of ki consumed when activating it has been increased. So as you guys can see right here, this is your Z burst, and that's how much is being consumed right now as you use it. So because of all the spamming, I'm assuming, with the evading and running away, they're going to make that consumption a lot more. Now, I'm curious to see how much exactly that's going to be, because they didn't really specify here. So essentially what that means is it's pushing you to go ahead and do more movement like this to approach your opponents or evade your opponents, rather than just Z burst dashing everywhere. So for burst smash, ki will no longer be consumed when activating it, and will instead consume an amount based on the distance traveled. So if we just take a look right here, pretty much what a burst smash is when you send your opponent flying like this, you press X to follow, and then triangle right there. So if you guys just saw how much consumption I used there, that's what it is right now. But apparently it's not going to be based on ki consumption anymore. It's going to be based on the distance traveled. So if we go ahead and do it again, so we'll send him flying and then triangle there. You guys saw that consumption. Yeah, I'm a little confused as to like what they mean by distance. I don't know exactly if they mean this part right here, right? And then that, I have no idea, because that, to me at least, seems the same for the most part when you're like dashing. From the minute that you're in the air to dash to that opponent, that seems like a set distance. So blast damage has been increased when using a boost. Yeah, sometimes when I use boost, I feel like it wasn't enough, but it's cool to see. It gives you more of an incentive to use boost now in certain situations. Z-search will no longer lose track of your opponent when characters are swapped. Oh my gosh, this was like one of the most annoying things that I've ran into when playing DP battles. And it says you will now quickly regain sight of your opponent if they enter your line of sight from the front when Z-search is not locked onto them. So first of all, I just want to say, I feel like I've seen people doing certain inputs to use Z-search, and I still, till this day, have not figured it out. So if there is, can someone just let me know down in the comments? But aside from that, yes, this is how it should have been. I should not have to be like I'm playing some type of battle royale and trying to find my opponent, especially if they were just right in front of me and they switched their character. Like, the radius distance was not that huge for them to just out of nowhere be out of sight. And not to mention, sometimes the game itself just bugs out and it's like, well, where did they go? I mean, with their instant transmission skills, for example, like, that's understandable, but I don't know, maybe that's just a personal preference for me. I don't really care though. At the end of the day, it's just a small thing. But here we have something big with Z counters. So it says the input window has been shortened. Z counters will become more difficult to perform if performed consecutively. Ki consumed has been increased as well when using a Z counter successfully. The skill count increased speed has been reduced when successfully performing a Z counter as well. Yeah, a lot of hoopla there, but essentially it's going more towards like the BT3 route, where the more Z counters that you perform in these vanish battles, the harder it is for that window timing for you to get it, and the consumption of ki is also going to increase. And lastly, these numbers, these skill counters, are going to increase at a much slower pace than what it is right now. So pretty much what this is doing is the incentive of even getting into Z battles now. You kind of want to think twice about it, because there's a lot more to think about when you're using it now. Some of you may just want to go ahead and end it early by using those revenge counters and then proceeding that way. And speaking of revenge counter, skill count consumed when using perception against revenge counter has been reduced from 2 to 1, so gives you more of a reason to use revenge counter now. You got rush attacks during sparking mode. The gradual damage reduction of consecutive hits has been increased, meaning that the more hits you're getting in a row is going to do as far as damage is going to be greater now. So you don't want to just keep spamming those square to do those rush attacks in Sparky mode. You want to go ahead and put more into your arsenal. Kind of wish that they mentioned something about Ki Blast here as well, but it is what it is. I'm still happy, guys. I'm not complaining. But moving on, we got combos here. The final attack of aerial combos and aerial slash combos will no longer be interrupted by guarding. I haven't really played enough in order to say that I ran into this issue, but I guess that's a cool thing to look at. Character switch, the health recovery rate of standby characters has been reduced. All you DP mains, this is a huge thing because, you know, this was a strategic thing when you're playing DP battles and you're switching your characters. You want to preserve that life. That recovery rate is going to be less now, so the way that you even approach, like, when you're gonna switch these characters is a whole different strategy now based off of this nerf right here. So some people may not be happy about this, others will, but it is what it is. It's been changed, so nothing you can do about that. The Z burst dash by giant characters. The tackle done by giant characters during Z burst dashes is now guardable. Thank freaking God, because you don't know how many times I ran into the freaking Golden 8th Vegeta, for example, and they would just keep spamming that Z burst dash at me, and there was not anything that I could do to prevent that other than just, you know, time my vanishes or my sidesteps and etc. Right? I can actually guard now. I don't have to sweat so much about it. Freaking stupid giant characters in the first place. I hate them. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. They're cool to be in the game, but yeah. Anyways, moving to skill adjustments. Skills that could use instant sparking mode. The consumption for that skill count has been increased. Thank you so much for that, all you Kefla cheesers and instant sparking cheesers in general. Yeah, this one's for you. You gotta go ahead and use more skill count in order to do that. So it seems like the back-to-backs is not going to work as much anymore. Skills that increase stats in general, the consumption of that has been decreased. So, you know, you want to go ahead and use more of those buffs that you have for specific characters now because it costs less and it gives you boost in general, so why not use it? After image strike, the effect duration has been reduced to 10 seconds, mind you, from 15 seconds, guys, and will be removed if your opponent uses perception while you are under the effect. So now there's essentially two ways to go ahead and counter these after image strike users, which is great because, you know, in general, a lot of people hold perception, right? Because they want you to go ahead and attack them so they can consume your ki. But when you're versing someone who's using after image strike, because of the reduction in how much ki blasts you can send, I guess the way that they made up for that was by, you know, adding this and lowering the time duration in general. So that's just a good thing to see overall. False Courage skill count consume has been increased from 1 to 2. Technique, all I need is 5 seconds. Oh, the amount of times I heard that. The skill count consumption has been increased from 3 to 2, and status increase upon activation has been increased. And then finally, we got Stardust Barrier. You can activate it while receiving melee attacks from the front. Hey, yo! Just kidding. Stardust Barrier, I actually did this in one of my very early videos where I tried to use Stardust Barrier in a specific moment because I thought it would counter the melee attack, and it ended up not happening. I forgot exactly why. Maybe I'll go back to the video and refer to that. To see this, right, for all of you Gogeta users, like, this is something big. This is essentially what Stardust Barrier is supposed to work as, right? Like, it's a barrier. So why is it not working as a barrier? So yeah, that's just cool to see. But moving on to the blast adjustments, we got long range blast and ultimate blast. The speed for that has been reduced, allowing more people to be able to counter that, I'm assuming, because I mean, some of them were pretty fast. All the Z rankers are like, yeah, just made it easier for the casuals, which is what you want to do at the end of the day because you want that player base to come back. You don't want it to just be all competitive. I've said this many times in my other videos. You want it to appeal to both sides of the spectrum here, and this is a good way to get people to feel like they're doing something in the game, but at the end of the day, don't give them too much of this aid, right? Still make it something that you have to work for. So doing this, I feel like it was very minimal. It's not going to really affect anything as much. I guess we'll just have to see while we experience the update, but as of right now, it seems like a plus. We got Super Vegito's final Kamehameha. The ki consumption and damage has been increased. I mean, I don't know. Have you guys been cheesed by the final Kamehameha? Let me know down in the comments. We got Goku Mini's Quick Rush. The trajectory can now be changed while rushing, so that's pretty cool. And Mr. Satan's Present Bomb, the increased ending lag after activation. Not really sure what that means there. I guess we'll have to see what that's like in actual practice. But the final part here is probably one of the most important parts here, and that's the character adjustments, because right here, as you see from the first 2 characters we have on the list, Android 19 and Dr. Gero, their health and ki amount absorbed on successful throws has been adjusted, as well as the Dragon Dash, Quick Ascend, and Quick Descend now consume ki. So they were like, nah, after that tournament bullshit, y'all not cheesing no more. Screw all of that running away and stuff. Y'all have to actually find a strategic way to go ahead and do this, and that was their solution. So honestly, I think it's pretty fair, but I'm not going to be surprised if they find this strategy here to be able to be used with other characters. I mean, it didn't apply this to all characters, so I'm pretty sure someone out there is gonna find, you know, a little loophole and be like, yeah, we can do it with this character as well, and yada yada yada. Cell second form, you can now escape the throw. Cooler, the amount of health restored upon transforming has been increased, so Cooler definitely has some increased stocks here. More people are gonna want to use him because of this. Giant characters, they increase the time it takes to charge a smash attack and reduced its power. So very interesting to see that they took that specific approach for giant characters, but we also have Grade 8 Vegeta and Dr. Wheeler here, who had their maximum healths been reduced. Now, me personally, I guess I find this as a plus because I hate fighting giants, and these are usually the giants that we see, so it gives me a little bit more of like a chance, I guess, to fight against the cheese, along with the other nerfs that I mentioned earlier as well. But finally, we have improved performance and ease of use. So that's all the patch notes that we have here for tomorrow's update. Overall, what I could say is they definitely approached most of what we were complaining about, but obviously one of the biggest things that they did not even mention anything about was the rank disconnects. You know, are we getting points for people who disconnect rage quit intentionally? Is that something that's going to be stealthily added to the update tomorrow? And you know, we'll just see it again. It just makes it more annoying to go ahead and have to grind for a rank, when really the only reward that you're getting from that specific grind is just getting a nice letter next to your name and more sweaty people to face against. So the overall process to achieve that does not seem like it's worth it when people are rage quitting, and then let's just say you were doing DP battles and you're at like the last minute, for example, and they decide to rage quit because they're losing or they're about to lose. You just essentially lost 9 minutes of your life. You can't get that back, and you get no type of gain from that whatsoever. That is annoying. So, you know, hopefully they do address that tomorrow, and if not, yeah, that will probably be like the biggest thing that they need to address immediately. But other than that, I think that this overall patch update is pretty good, and they adjusted a lot of things, a lot of concerns that people had. But if there's anything else that you guys want to see, let me know down in the comments. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Just a little quick run through of what the patch notes we're getting for tomorrow is. Sparking Zero is looking promising after all. It only took 2 months, right? It's better than nothing. We're starting a new year, right? So yeah, enough of this yapping. Take it easy, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.